Horizon Gens, welcome to CGUX, and this is Earth's Next Balance Patch by the channel TierZoo. Some might call it a hotfix. Okay, he's gonna talk about global warming hotfix, alright. So this is gonna be a fun video, man. I mean, he talked about lots of different patches, extinction events of the past. This is gonna take similar take of the future coming extinction event, if it could be like that, if we don't act on it apparently with global warming. And knowing how TierZoo makes this game patch type of whole video is just going to be awesome. I've done quite a few TierZoo videos already. If you haven't seen them, check out the cards, the playlist calculator for it, TierZoo reaction, something like that. I upload also videos in 24 hours, so people don't get notification for lots of my videos. So you might have missed some of them. Check out the playlist; it's all there. Check out the playlist too, like Oli Sarcastic Production, Interhistorian, CGP Grey, Kuzgazat and Understell. And yeah, let's watch this one.
This episode is sponsored by Brilliant. There was a lot of debate as to whether or not the rumored balance patch 1.3.7 was actually coming, but as of the IPCC climate report, we now not only have confirmation that the update is real, but we
Look at that. IPCC conference is talking about that in the same manner. Everyone is nerfed. Because everything's a game, obviously.
IPCC climate report, we now not only have confirmation that the update is real, but we now know the precise details concerning which playstyles are getting buffed and which ones are getting nerfed. So we're going to go through build by build and discuss how they've been buffed or nerfed by this update.
Oh, this is going to be fun. Oh, of course.
Polar bears can no longer rely on their land-based movement abilities to get around. With ice sheets becoming more fragmented, putting points into swimming and diving will become a necessity in order to survive.
Alright, that famous polar bear image where it's just polar bear is just, standing there on the small piece of ice sheet surrounded by water. People always assume like, oh, polar bear, he's gonna go into the water and die. But can polar bear swims, right? I mean, or is the new thing they're developing right now? Because that polar bear might be just there to, I guess, I don't know, just find something like prey or something, then go back into the water or something, and somebody just took the photo. Or is the polar bear swimming is a new thing, apparently, I don't know.
Ice sheets were a protective barrier that prevented orcas from invading the breeding grounds of seals and narwhals. Because these ice sheets are melting, orcas will be able to wreak havoc on these seals. You now have a lot less defensive options. But if you're an orca main, be careful, because the passages into these waters open and close frequently, meaning it's possible to become trapped. Cephalopods like the octopus and squid are able to grow and respawn much more effectively in warmer water. The cephalopod player base has seen explosive growth lately, as their highly adaptive playstyle has allowed them to easily move into territory that they couldn't previously due to the water being too cold. In the past, I've counted their short lifespans against them, because it limits how much time they have to learn advanced techniques with their high intelligence. But in this case, their short lifespan and quick respawn time is a huge benefit, accelerating how quickly they can adapt to changes in the environment.
I mean, this type of thing will help them immensely, because obviously the whatever species is not, I guess, good for the environment is going to die anyway in 5 or so years. And whatever species is left, whatever type of turtle or not turtle, octopus or whatever is left, obviously they are gonna respawn, and that's what octopus are going to be left. So for the evolution, that's just great.
Sea turtles are affected in two ways. First, because they can only respawn on beaches, the rising water level means their spawn points are becoming smaller and much more crowded.
Damn, really?
Second, because they're reptiles, their gender is not dictated by RNG, but by temperature. The higher temperatures have led to a sharp spike in the number of players spawning in as females.
What? Sea turtles and the crocodiles and those type of things, their gender is determined on temperature. So higher temperature means there are going to be more females, huh? And damn, that's just sad about sea turtles. I mean, they only can spawn on beaches, and obviously beaches are going to get slimmer. I mean, they're not going to go away. I mean, beaches are going to be there, obviously, but obviously they are becoming, smaller things. So I guess they are going to be in just certain areas where there are beaches.
While polar bears are being driven south, grizzly bears are being driven north. This has led to the creation of a new build, the growler bear, which is essentially an intermediate between the two. That's more powerful than the grizzly bear, but also not limited to the Arctic like polar bears are.
Damn, really? There's a hybrid between that? So that's a strong, more stronger. This is literally one of those comic thing, isn't it? Two different type of species of bear, interacted, and now the new type of hybrid species is there, and it's even more stronger and better apparently.
House cats are mostly unaffected by climate change, although the warmer climate allows cats to respawn at any time instead of only in the spring. On the other hand, fleas and ticks also multiply faster. So make sure you have at least one human player in your party, so that they can heal you from the diseases that these parasites can cause. Jellyfish are perfectly suited to living in a warmer, more acidic ocean. Like cephalopods, they've seen explosive growth, but to an even greater extreme. The box jellyfish and irukandji in particular are quickly becoming the most oppressive builds in the meta, in some cases even damaging battleships. It's been over 500 million in the meta, in some cases.
China's aircraft carrier have a menace, jellyfish swarms, really? The net line will play seriously to deal with the swarms that are fueling up China. How many jellyfish are there in the sea that an aircraft carrier is going and it's a nuisance? I mean, there has to be a lot of jellyfishes. One of China's most intractable enemies doesn't even have a vertebra or a brain. It's damaging. How can jellyfish damage an aircraft carrier though?
Cases even damaging battleships. It's been over 500 million years since the last time jellyfish were top tier, so I see this as a fair balance change. Increased overworld temperature has different effects in different places. In some areas it means more water, and in some places, like the African savanna, it means a lot less. Ticks in Africa thrive in drought conditions, which is terrible news for mammal builds playing on that server. In particular, lions, wildebeest, and antelope can expect to be playing with reduced max HP because they'll constantly be being drained by tick players. In the Midwest,
isn't that fucked up? Yeah, you don't have any water, you're dehydrated, now ticks are a big problem. It just feels like certain things, nature is just tuned in a way that just screws with you, right? I mean, obviously you're annoyed because it's, you're dehydrated, there is no water, and yet at the same condition, ticks numbers go high and attack you.
Tick populations are surging as well, which has been disastrous for moose and deer populations, as well as a certain YouTuber who got Lyme disease.
Damn. He got Lyme
disease. Not a ton to say here except that the increased temperature expands their range a bit, since the areas that were previously too cold are now habitable. This applies to sea snakes too. One of the other new changes in this update is an increase in severe weather event frequency and severity.
Oh yeah.
This to me seems like a change meant to directly nerf humans, because severe weather deals bonus damage to structures.
Oh god, whenever I see tornado footage, it just creeps me out, because I've said in some of the videos in the past that I've started to watch, that Pecos Hang channel just a month or two ago. And I'll never watch something weather type thing like that. There's always a guy who's hyping things up, screaming like, oh, I'm near a tornado, this and that, and doesn't actually capture the gravity of the situation. It just makes it like an action movie or something. So I never like that. But Paco Hank is not like that. He doesn't amp things up like that. He's just a great photographer, great cameraman or whatever you call it. He just captures great footages and photos, and he goes really good angles. So just seeing that he goes from the distance, there is no talking over things too much, so you can hear the environment, the wind, the siren that is going in the distance, the equipment is good enough, so you can feel all those things, the siren going on. Then in the distance you see that supercell, then things start to get dark because it's a supercell. It would the massive clouds, and then the tornado touches down, then everybody's panicking. Oh god, it's like apocalypse is coming or something like that. So tornadoes are just frightening, and obviously in Tornado Alley, in Tornado Valley and everywhere else, it's gonna get even worse now, because tornadoes frequencies are gonna go up. I guess just a few weeks ago in Texas, I think there were 2-3 massive tornadoes just happened. So that's just effed up, man.
Weather is one of the few things in the game that humans can't actually fight, and while they can simply flee just like any other build, their structures are helpless. In addition to this, the rising sea level will force many human players.
In here, in India, obviously in my part of India, there's not going to be any tornado, but floods might be a real thing, because we have a monsoon season here, so that's going to just rise up. I guess tornado is a thing in, I don't know, east India side, Bengal and things like that. One of the worst tornado damages occurred in the history was there. So that was surprised me. Like, I've never heard of tornado in India, never seen one, but that's just particular to that part.
Players have to find a new home server. Permafrost, the Arctic server's signature debuff that prevents trees from spawning there, has been removed in a lot of areas. This means arboreal builds are gaining a ton of traction much further north than before. The most important of which is the goshawk, which has phenomenal matchups against the small mammals of the Arctic.
Look, that's just frightening. That scene right there, where that hawk or that thing just basically trying to make a turn between those trees, but knows it coming way fast, so it's using its feet to jump like a ninja or something. I don't know, that's just frightening. And seeing those eyes, it's just ridiculous. I'll have to watch that again.
Much further north than before. The most important of which is the goshawk, which has phenomenal matchups against the small mammals of the Arctic. Similar to snakes, scorpions have the ability to enter more temperate zones now. In fact, let's just get this out of the way. This is true for most arthropod builds that play on the Central America servers. So fire ants and killer bees are moving north as well. For most players, the acidification of the ocean is problematic, but it doesn't actually deal any direct damage to them. However, for bivalves, as well as for just about any build that puts points into a shell, the acidic ocean directly corrodes their armor, damaging it and drastically lowering the player's defense level, which is pretty much the only thing they have going for them. Most tigers live near the coast, which is the region most threatened by climate change, along with the Arctic. Tigers rely on coastal freshwater springs in order to survive, but the rising sea levels are causing some of these springs to mix with saltwater.
Damn.
The increased rainfall in the northern servers has
It's not that tigers are going extinct already, now that thing.
vastly increased spawn rates for mosquitoes, which require standing water to respawn. This is a problem for crow players because the West Nile debuff Mosquito Spread deals bonus damage to crows.
I'm pretty sure mosquitoes is a big problem for everybody, even humans, not just crows.
One of this build's main advantages is its ability to move through deep snow without receiving a speed penalty. But with snowfall being reduced and winters being shorter, this advantage is becoming less useful, so Wolverine players may want to invest those points somewhere else.
Maybe some of the claws coming out of the air.
The increased rainfall and temperature has accelerated the spread of chytrid fungus, an infection that directly targets amphibians and is one of the deadliest plagues in the history of the game.
Damn.
Ultimately, this only accelerates the inevitable. But yeah, amphibian players, you had a good run. I'm surprised you kept trying to make amphibians work considering how much power creep has occurred since the Devonian. But it's time to start playing better characters. You'll always be remembered as the first vertebrates to unlock the terrestrial servers. That's all the changes that have been found so far.
Yeah, about amphibian. I mean, yeah, sure, he's talked about in the past. I mean, that is better. It's better to just back into one side rather than be in the water and the land. But it's cooler, isn't it? An animal who can also work on water and also can work on land. It just feels like it has special abilities, like extra edge or something. But clearly, that's not the case.
Honestly, I think this patch is going to be one of the most controversial updates in the history of the game. A lot of the parasitic builds got buffed, while many fan favorites got nerfed.
Yeah.
I am excited for the buffs to jellyfish and cephalopods though, since both of those classes are some of my personal favorites. One of the things I'm most surprised about is that while they did receive nerfs to their buildings, the human's intelligence stat didn't get nerfed. So if you're a human main, why not put your learning abilities to good use by solving the puzzles on brilliant.org?
Yeah, people go to brilliant.org/TierZoo and support this channel. Yeah, us next balance page. I mean, yeah, I mean, if we don't do anything, I mean, we are already trying to do things. I mean, most countries are trying to do things, but I don't think that's enough or how much time we have. I think right now it's like 50-50 type of thing. Maybe we are panicking way too much and we have a bit time where whatever pace we are going at will eventually find the balance to fight climate change, and the more likely scenario which scientists are predicting that time is coming way too closer and we are not doing enough. So there will be an immediate time like, okay, this is now do or die kind of situation. We have to do immediately something now. At those moments, people are not going to debate scientists because history tells us one thing. People, ignore science when it's profitable for them until the last point, like it's do or die situation. When it's a national emergency type of situation, then everybody just shuts up. and listens to scientists. But what's going to happen then is people are going to need to make a drastic changes, which is going to hurt a lot of people. So it's the world is going to feel weird around that time if that time comes, and we don't do something right now, gradually, don't decrease it like that, with the strict regulation and things, and something has to be done immediately in 2050 or something, when it's gotten way too out of hand. That's going to hurt a lot of people. A lot of people are going to be lots of people won't have electricity and things like that, because that's one of the major drawing electricity is the one of the major reason global warming is going up. So yeah, it's just effed up. But yeah, as next balance patch, maybe we'll see all this coming and wise up, just in right time, and it won't be like this, or maybe it'll be much worse and humans will be nerfed even much bad, I guess. I don't know. Alright people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the reaction, there's a link in the description. Check out the cast of the end cards, and I'll see you next time.